ATLUS, a Japanese video game company known for developing titles like Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, and Etrian Odyssey. They've been in the gaming industry for a while, producing a variety of games dating back to 1986. But did you know that ATLUS has quite a list of games published over to the West? And I'm not talking about the obvious, for example Vanillaware games, or from their subsidiaries like with Studio Zero and their release of Metaphor Fantasio. Welcome to the first episode of Forgotten ATLUS published games, where I go through one of many games ATLUS has published over the years. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and upcoming episodes later down the line. So let's begin with our first Forgotten ATLUS published game. On the Nintendo 64 released in Japan December 1997 and in America 1998, we have Snowboard Kids, a racing game developed by Rakdim, now known as Rakjin, and published by ATLUS in America. Personally, I haven't played that many racing games, especially any snowboarding racing games, so I didn't know what to expect coming into this. The game itself doesn't really tell you much about the story, instead we have to look inside the manual for the lore. The Snowboard Kids are a group of elementary school kids residing in a small town on the Canadian Rocky Mountains. We're introduced to a group of 5 kids who are having a discussion on who's the fastest at snowboarding. Eventually, it turns into an argument, and one of the characters, Linda, daughter of a rich family, the Maltinis, decides to set up a competition to see who's best. Starting up the game, we are greeted to the title screen with 3 options to choose from. Choosing Star will take us to the character selection and then the main hub of the game. Lesson will give you some tutorials on how to play the game and how the items work. And lastly, we have options allowing you to change some settings when playing multiplayer. That's right, this game has local split screen supporting up to 4 players if you had 4 controllers, but the only mode you can play together is the battle race, which is the racing section of the game. Going to the character selection, you can choose one of 5 characters we saw in the manual. Flash Kamei, Nancy Neal, Jam Kinnaman, Linda Maltini, and Tommy Parsi. Each character has 3 stats. There's speed, how fast they can go, corner, how easy they control when turning, and trick is how high they can jump. Each stat is rated between 1 to 3 stars, with 1 being the worst and 3 being the best. I initially picked Slash as he is the all-rounder character, having 2 stars in every stat. After choosing my character, we get to the main hub of the game with more options to choose from. There's skill game, which are challenging mini-games testing your ability. For example, the trick game requires to score as many tricks as you can within a certain time limit. There's a separate mode for time attack. There's the board shop, where we can purchase upgrades and customize our snowboards. And lastly, there's the battle race. As said before, this is the racing section and main part of the game. When Snowboard Kids first released, reviewers compared this game to Mario Kart 64, which was released in America a year before, February 1997. There are similarities between the 2 games. For example, you can race up to 4 players and that there are items that you can collect and use. However, Snowboard Kids does have a few things that separate itself from other races. In most snowboarding games, you start uphill, going down to reach the finishing line or goal at the bottom. In Snowboard Kids, you go through multiple laps, and at the bottom of each course, there's a ski lift that takes you back up, looping around until the final lap. The thing is about the ski lift is that you have to enter through a gate to get back up, and if somebody took it before you, you have to wait a second or 2 before you enter. If not, you're colliding into the wall, taking time for you to recover only for someone else to take the ski lift. It's even more chaotic when 3 other people are contesting the gate, especially when they have items on them. Speaking of items, Snowboard Kids takes a different approach to Mario Kart, where the item boxes are actually separated into 2 shops, red and blue. The red shop consists of projectile items, ranging from parachutes that will carry your opponent in the air to snowmen that will turn your opponent into a snowman, disabling their controls until they hit a wall or fall off the course. The blue shop consists of support items. For example, the speed fan, when used, will increase your top speed for a short while or until you hit a wall, and the pan item, when used, drops the pan on every opponent's head, immobilizing them for a few seconds. You have to purchase these items with gold, which you can gain by doing tricks. Snowboard Kids doesn't have a deep list of tricks like some snowboarding games do, but there are a few to use. Every character has a universal set of tricks, which is done by using the control stick, and each character has their own set of special tricks. In the manual, you can find one of their special tricks, and to find out their other tricks, the game wants you to experiment with combinations. Depending on the trick landed earns a varied amount of gold. You can also hold your snowball while in the air as well for a small sum. Our main objective lies within the battle race. There are 6 courses available to race on. Once you've chosen a course, you then have to choose which snowboard to use. You've got 3 options, each with stats exactly like the characters. First, we have Freestyle, which has a 1 star in speed but 3 stars in both corner and trick. All Around has 2 stars in every stat. And lastly, Alpine, which has 3 stars in speed and 1 star in both corner and trick. I picked the All Around for my all-rounder, can't go wrong with that. Each course has a difficulty rated between 1 to 4 stars. For example, the first course, Rookie Mountain, is rated 1 star in difficulty, being the easiest. It's also the only course to have 5 laps, allowing you to familiarize yourself with the controls and tricks. So our main objective is to get first place on every course. Doing so will unlock new hidden courses, even the manual mentions that. There are 3 hidden courses to unlock. You need to get first place on the first 2 courses in order to unlock the final course. Completing a race will reward you with gold depending on the place you finished in. First to third place will get you distributed gold plus any accumulated from tricks or items, while fourth place gets you nothing. You can then use this gold for upgrades in the board shop. All the courses are unique, and nearly every course has something different to introduce. The second course, Big Snowman, is the longest and only course with 2 laps, also the first to introduce obstacles. Courses onwards become 3 laps until the final course. The third course, Sunset Rock, introduced more hazards, from falling boulders to a large snowman shooting out the snowman projectile, as well as a rail that you can grind on. The fourth and fifth course, Night Highway and Grass Valley, introduces shortcuts and split paths, respectively. These 2 courses are my favorite, both in design and music. And let me take this moment to sidetrack a bit and talk about the music. Every course except the final has their own unique soundtrack. It's chill, catchy, and in my opinion isn't annoying, especially since you'll be retrying courses multiple times. Even outside of the battle race, like for example the board shop, has a great soundtrack. Have a listen.
Welcome!
The sixth course, Dizzy Lands, doesn't really add anything except for this one section of obstacles where you can bounce off from, if you count that. Now that we have first place in all 6 courses, we unlock the 7th and first hidden course, Quicksand Valley. But before that, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down any ATLUS published games you want me to check out. I've got a list myself, but maybe there's one I didn't know about, so your support will be greatly appreciated. Oh, Quicksand Valley. Quicksand Valley. This is by far the most difficult course out of all the courses in my opinion. I doubt anyone will have an easy time on their first try. It's rated 4 stars in difficulty, the highest out of all the courses. There's a lot of tight corners, tricky jumps, and 3 split paths to take. The second split path in particular both have a turn where you see some sand that could drag you off the course. If you don't have a good combination of speed and cornering, you'll end up out of bounds. Also, the CPUs at this point are tough. You'll notice there'll be this one CPU in particular that's absurdly fast, and you'll be playing catch up for first if you make any mistakes. I nearly forgot to mention that in this game you can look or throw any projectiles behind you. There is an indicator to tell you if a projectile is coming nearby, and you can actually avoid it by timing a jump or using the invisibility item from the blue shop. More often than not, you'll be taking hits from the CPU's projectiles, and at this point they know when to use their items effectively. I was having a rough time going through this course with Slash, especially with those turns on the second split path. So, I decided to switch up my character and board, and chose Linda, who has 2.5 stars in speed and 1.5 stars in both corner and trick, alongside the freestyle board to compensate. Switching up characters and board definitely helped with the turns. Eventually I had to map out the best route for myself, which was going right at the second split path, taking you to the third split path, and then going right once again, leading to a junction where you could use projectile items to catch any CPUs coming across, especially the fast CPU. After many attempts, I finally got first place. It wasn't the cleanest of finishes, as I made a little mistake running into the wall, making it too close than it had to be. Fortunately, the final stretch had a blue and red shop nearby, and I managed to get the pan item, securing my victory. This course took the longest to complete, but I'm glad I did it in one sitting, earning us the Silver Pass and unlocking the 8th and second hidden course of the game, Silver Mountain. Rated 3.5 stars in difficulty, Silver Mountain is an interesting course because it's the only course that has low visibility, so it's hard to see what's up ahead. There are no split paths or shortcuts, but it is a very narrow course, making projectiles easier to hit and one of the blue shop items, a rock, more viable. It took a couple of tries to get first place. In my opinion, it wasn't as hard as Quicksand Valley, but still a challenging course. Finally, we've earned the gold pass, unlocking the final course of the game, but not before seeing the end credits, the only time we see the personalities of the cast. Fun fact, did you know that the only person listed as the voices for the Western release of Snowboard Kids was done by Lanny Minella, who would later go on to voice Nancy Drew, Ivory from Soul Calibur, and Luke Trident from Professor Layton? Anyways, the final course of this game is called Ninja Land, my type of place, the shortest and only course to have 9 laps. The difficulty of this course is rated 2 stars. However, don't let that fool you, because the real difficulty lies within the exclusive opponent that you'll be facing against, Shinobin, the best and hidden character in the game. If you win this course, you'll unlock him, and also you'll unlock a special board called the Starboard, the best snowboard for racing. On the course, Shinobi can overtake you with ease, and closing the gap isn't too hard, because all the item shops are close together due to how short the course is. Overall, it's not as difficult as Quicksand Valley or Silver Mountain, although it's still a hurdle to overcome. For me, it took 2 tries to get first place, and with that, we've completed the game as we see the end credits roll by one last time. Shinobin has 2.5 stars in all stats, and also 3 unique snowboards of his own, although it has the same stats as the Freestyle, All Around, and Alpine. The Starboard is now available at the board shop costing 80k gold, and there are 2 other special boards that you can unlock. There's the Featherboard, which you can unlock by getting 2,500 points in the trick game mode, which is a challenge in itself, costing 100k gold. This board allows you to float briefly in the air when going off a jump. The other board is the Ice Board that you can unlock by upgrading the Freestyle, All Around, and Alpine to level 3. It costs 1,000 gold and is supposedly fast but has poor cornering. Apparently it's a worse version of the Alpine. Here's another fun fact. Did you know that Snowboard Kids has an enhanced pod of the game exclusive to Japan called Snowboard Kids Plus? Released January 1999 on the PlayStation, Snowboard Kids Plus has a lot of changes compared to the Nintendo 64 version. Firstly, the opening sequence is now replaced with an actual FMV intro. The game also introduced 3 new characters, Nicole Couch, Pamela Rasteri, and Ruby Green. I don't know about you guys, I thought Linda was an exception, but I think these characters are elementary school kids. There's also a new secret character named Kaede, who you unlock after you complete the game the first time. Shinobin still exists, but you have to complete the game a second time with Kaede. On top of that, there are now cutscenes for the story, and each character has their own ending cutscene, all presented with still images that are fully voice acted. In terms of visuals, the character models look a little thinner and blockier compared to the N64 version. Not only that, all the courses have a new look, for example the skybox and the lighting. There are notable differences between the two. The soundtracks for all the courses are arrangements from the N64 version. The first course, Rookie Mountain, has a new soundtrack since it was also used in Ninja Land. This version also introduces new customizations that you can purchase, like different outfits and the ability to change the color of your character's hair. Lastly, Snowboard Kids Plus now has an autopilot function when coming close to the ski lift, which can be toggled off in the options. Overall, Snowboard Kids is a fun racing game, more so with multiplayer. It has a variety of courses accompanied with a solid soundtrack. Did Snowboard Kids rival Mario Kart 64 at the time? Definitely not. However, I think the game has its own features and charm that makes itself unique compared to other snowboarding and racing games. The enhanced pod is worth looking into. Despite it being only in Japanese, the pod fleshed out the story and characters. I believe there are videos on YouTube that has the story and some character endings translated if you're interested. The pod is also easy to pick up since the layout is nearly the same as the N64 version. This won't be the last time we'll be seeing Snowboard Kids in this series, as there's a sequel, Snowboard Kids 2, and a reboot called SBK Snowboard Kids for the Nintendo DS. And that concludes our first episode of Forgotten ATLUS published games. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been about 7 months since my last video. I was planning to release a video about Last Window, The Secret of Cape West in December, but I didn't like how I structured it. So I moved on writing for some other ideas I had, this being one of them. Hopefully I could get back to speed with the uploads on this channel, since one of the goals for monetization is to upload 3 videos within 90 days. Additionally, we need 500 subscribers, so be sure to subscribe if you want to support this channel. Anyways, that's it for me, and as always, I'll see you in the next one and catch you guys later. Take care.